Hey guys, last week was a Digimon Regional in Utrecht and I didn't do so hot, but my friend placed second with Vademon Control V2, DMV2, and I gave him the deck one day prior to the event. It was a good meta call. I was thinking about a lot of Hoodimons and Gallantmon, and I was right on the money on that. That's why he could play it out and won most of his matches. In the final, he lost to Gallantmon, but he didn't find his crucial card for the matchup. But nevertheless, he thought the game and the event ran really well for him, and he could play at his own pace despite having a lot of Hoodie representation. And I will show you and explain the deck to you right now. A few days before the event, one of my teammates came to me and had a great idea about version 2 with Lord Nightmon and Valdo Arm and stuff, and the idea was great, but it stuck with me. And 2-3 days later I messaged him, wait, the idea is great, but what if we go one step further beyond? So this is a co-creation from me and him, and it worked really well for that event. I told you already it's version 2, so the X are quite simple. It's 4 times Tsunamon. It lets you digivolve for 1 less into a version 2 Digimon when you place a card face down. So, for example, if one of your Digimon is taunted on the field, you can raise your Digimon with the egg, use Analog Boy to put something below that Digimon and still evolve into Garurumon and strip sources or whatnot. So that's a neat little counterplay you have against taunt effects. Rookies are quite simple. We jam as many version 2 rookies as we can and fill the rest of the spots with other DM trait Digimon, preferably with training. So I chose Betamon just for the jamming. I can see people running Patamon for barrier, but Patamon has no training keyword. And Biomon was also in the deck, but because we have raid and access to piercing, but in the end I just went with safe jamming to swing early or later without fear of security Digimon. Gabumon is the searcher of the deck. Reveal 3, add any DM trade card and put a version 2 below him. Jamming Inherit. Elegmon has training keyword, so he and Betamon are most likely Digimons you want to have in the raising, so you can blind train once. And minus 3k in the security is almost like jamming. Not as good as jamming, but almost. It helps for your other Digimon, but most likely the other Digimon have jamming, so his Inherit you can most likely ignore. He's in the deck because he's version 2. Same as the rookies, level 4s are also as many version 2 Digimon as you can. And one of the best ones you also need in this deck is Vegemon. Vegemon is one of the key parts in the deck to make it function. Other than the other level 4s, Vegemon has no ability to put cards below himself during your turn when you digivolve, but at the end of the turn you can put 3 version 2 cards below him to digivolve into a version 2 level 5 for paying the cost. But Vademon reduces himself, so Vademon costs 0, Metamamon still costs 3, but he can also use cards from the trash, so it's like you recycle him all the time to recycle your Vademon to generate more pressure. The other level 4s are like I told you, version 2s, but they all have their applications. Garurumon is baseline the best one because he has jamming Inherit. He strips sources from your opponent. You can choose them, and in combination with Digivolve, it is really deadly. Or you pick out the key sources you want to remove, like Shakomon, for example, if they have a Hoodie with Shakomon. Angemon, his Inherit never came up. Actually, he is the worst one of the level 4s, but sometimes he can kill a small Digimon you want to remove or give sec -1. Kabuterimon actually really good into the Gallantmon matchup, so you can you suspend his Digimon and stun it, and they have no means of restanding the Digimon once they're suspended, once they start suspended. Even if they gain immunity, they have no effects to randomly restand their Digimon in their baseline decks. Level 5, you guessed it, the star of the show, we have 4 Vademon of course, and actually 4 Metaimamon, no other level 5s. Vademon is so strong baseline already. His ability, he reduces his evo costs by 1 for each face down card you have. So most likely he will evolve for 0 or 1. His evolution effect is he trashes one of his bottom sources to Digivolve 1 and bounce play cost for Digimon or Tamer. The Tamer part is the important part. And he has randomly fragment, which makes him really sticky against Galamon, which is quite nice. Bouncing Tamers, or the threat of bouncing Tamers all the time, is really nerve-wracking if you play a Tamer-based deck. So Hoodie Tamers will most likely be bounced. You might think it won't matter to them, but it does, because they will still need the memory gain from the start of turn effects, or the DP pluses from the Keisuke, or anything value generated in the start of main. I know they can replay them for quite cheap, but you remove them for cheaper, and you can remove them again without putting any effort in it. Mamamon can bottom deck, not bounce, bottom deck a Digimon with no sources. In combination with Garurumon, he can bottom deck most of the opponent's stuff. And in the matchup against Royal Knights, he will make or break your game, because you can bottom deck any knight and bounce the cool boy with the Vademon, so that matchup is quite grueling for Royal Knights if you face one. Up until now it was really fairly standard version 2. I think the main differences come now. I play 4 Lord Knightmon BT19 and 4 Justimon BT23. The main idea here was Vademon gets rid of the pesky Tamers, and Justimon can get rid of the boosts and anything, any options on the field. So if you go Veggie into Vade for 0, bounce Tamer, and evolve Justy for 3, kill an option, you decelerate the opponent's game plan by a lot already, but the real sauce starts with the Lord Knightmon, and I will explain why now. So it's your turn, you are in Vademon already, it costs you 1 or 2 to get there, you bounce one of their Tamers, you can still choose to swing, you most likely have Gemming on bottom, but you evolve into Lord Knightmon. Lord Knightmon lets you play any level 4 from the trash or lower. So you play Vegemon. Lord Knightmon himself has a redirect. Vademon Inherit is a redirect, so you have defensively you are very strong. But you evolve Lord Knightmon, pass turn with Vegemon by playing Vegemon. Vegemon end of turn will give you 3 sources and let you evolve into Vademon from the trash for the cost, but Vademon costs 3 on Vegemon, and for every face down it reduces again, so this whole play costs 0, and Vademon will bounce Digivolve something and bounce another Tamer. So this play bounced 2 Tamers and you have 2 bodies on board already. And you can also, with the analog boy, regain turn again. And if you do that, you can evolve into Justimon right here and destroy another option. This way you control the board and the tempo of the board. You swing really slowly but safely, because any sec bomb you hit, you can remove with Justimon or Vademon. So sometimes you just also sit on the level 5, because Vademon's effect, yes, it's once per turn, but it's on evolution and on swing. So you can just threaten to bounce another Tamer again, so they don't want to play another Tamer. So they play an option, and if they play an option, you can go for Justimon. And after level 6, we play level 7's Rune mode. I actually played, in the list I played 2, but the other one is one of my friends, so I gave it back to him. The second place list played 2. And the reasoning behind it is also very simple. Say your board set is like this, you evolve Lord Knightmon and didn't pass turn yet. Lord Knightmon is part purple, so you can easily go into Rune mode, and at the end of the turn you will go into Vade again, the DDG of Digimon will most likely die, you will bounce a Tamer, and the raising of your opponent is also locked. Keep in mind, this deck was designed to defeat Hoodimon, or at least control them, to slow them down super hard that they cannot get into the game. And if you keep bouncing their K-Skis, Lord Edmond Evolution into Ruin mode will lock them out of the turn at least one turn. When he dies on your turn again and Vademon removes the K-Ski again, it's 2 turns. Also, your Vademon will be in trash again if Ruin mode dies, so your next Vegemon is locked and loaded. This list is specifically tailored to defeat Hoodimon and all the other decks who are very, very reliant on tamers and setup like memory boost and stuff. For example, Miotismon. Speaking about options, this deck is really option thin. I played those 2 only. Meat is basically our way of training. It adds another face down card. So, for example, you raise your rookie, which blind trained once, so it has 1 face down card. You use Meat to evolve into your level 4 for 0 by putting 1 face down card. The level 4 will most likely put another face down card in it, so it's 3 face down cards. You use Tsunomon, you evolve for 0 into Vademon, so Meat is basically double training for this deck, which is really, really nice. Protein, sometimes your sources, you get stuck with them under your Digimon. You need at least 3 V2 Digimons in the trash, and the Protein is just there to remove 2 of your sources to unsuspend your Digimon. It gave him 1 game in the tournament, but I will most likely cut him and probably Ruin mode if I have to review the deck again. But this was the winner list. And classic standard DM decks, 4 analog use and 1 man. I'm still thinking about cutting the analog man. I didn't know what to play. Probably another Meat, but this is a big flex spot. This, however, is a must. If Vegemon uses their end of turn ability, you can use Analog Boy to regain turn and evolve into Vademon, into one of your strong level 6s again to keep extending your lead. But it is not a play you always have to do, but you can do. But Analog Boy, there's a big difference by having 1 Analog Boy in the game or 0. That's like probably having Davis Can Dual Tamer or not having Davis Can Dual Tamer. There's a big spike in power if you have one. So, of course, 4 Analog Boys. So that's the deck. If you want to know about his matchups, I will put them in the very end of the video. Give this a try. I think it works wonders against Hoodimon. So go give it a try and have fun. See you in the next one.